Guy and Velzard clashed in a cosmic battle, their auras scorching the heavens, yet their immense power remained contained. Velzard appeared unaffected by Guy's attacks, not due to invincibility, but because he wasn't fighting at full strength. His true focus was on the changes within her, sensing a third-party interference that Tensura had already uncovered and eliminated. With the interference resolved, Guy turned his full attention to Velzard. Tensura, exhausted yet composed, entrusted the rest to him, maintaining a void barrier around Velzard to prevent Twilight's escape. Guy acknowledged her terrifying precision. She had not just erased Twilight, but crafted a void prison ensuring his complete isolation. As Velzard blocked Guy's lethal Calamity Mirage Claw with ease, he realized her abilities extended beyond mere defense. She was freezing even emotions. This revelation made the battle far more intricate. It wasn't just about overpowering her but breaking through the ice, encasing her very being. The true fight was just beginning. Long ago, Velzard had sought out Guy to test his strength, driven by jealousy over her brother Veldanava's recognition of him. But as time passed, she found herself enjoying their clashes, even if only slightly. She had always been alone, managing the vast emptiness of Tenseku, bound by duty without question. Meeting Guy changed that. Life with him felt different, almost freeing. Yet, to prevent herself from straying from her purpose, she sealed her emotions away, using her ultimate abilities, King of Jealousy, Leviathan, and King of Patience, Gabriel, to encase her heart in an eternal blizzard. Now, as their long-awaited battle truly began, Velzard felt euphoric. This was what she had longed for, to fight Guy at full strength and prove herself as the strongest. Deep down, she sought his recognition, though she refused to acknowledge why. Any doubts were buried beneath her frozen will, hidden behind a cold smile, while within her, an endless blizzard raged. Twilight's voice echoed in Velzard's mind, urging her to fulfill their long-held wish. Having transcended even the divinity core, Twilight had evolved into pure information, an authority unto himself, a manas. His trump card, Guryutai, was meant to be used in perfect sync with Velzard, but Guy had never allowed an opening. For countless hours, Velzard had searched for a weakness, only to find Guy ever vigilant, fully aware she was hiding something. Their initial plan had already failed before it began. Tensura's interference complicated matters further, her mastery over void restricting Velzard's movements and sealing away Twilight, stripping her of a key advantage. With projectile attacks rendered ineffective and no way to shake off the void in front of Guy, Velzard had no choice but to abandon their original strategy. The only path left was a direct confrontation. Yet, deep within her frozen heart, a lingering question remained, one she refused to acknowledge. This battle was never just about victory. It was something far more personal. With a chilling smile, she cast aside hesitation and unleashed her true desires. Velzard had never truly restrained herself, but until now, she had held onto a thin thread of reason. At last, she let it go, surrendering completely to her long-suppressed emotions. She had watched Guy for ages, longing for his recognition, demanding his attention with an intensity that could freeze the world itself. Sensing an overwhelming dread, Guy instinctively retreated just as the space he had occupied erupted into a violent storm of ice and snow. Velzard had abandoned all strategy, unleashing her full power in an uncontrollable surge. Her magic energy, second only to Veldanava's, swelled into a destructive tsunami, even pushing aside Tensura's void, an all-consuming force that should have been absolute. Yet, this sheer devastation wasn't even intentional. It was merely the manifestation of her emotions. Tensura struggled to maintain control, barely escaping to Moss's barrier, yet refused to surrender. Rather than resist Velzard's energy, she adapted, wielding the void with an artistry beyond mere technique. Even Rain, her longtime rival, had to concede defeat. Guy, too, acknowledged her skill, realizing that without Tensura's intervention, the battle could have turned into an unwinnable nightmare. However, Tensura had reached her limit. Though her initial strike had succeeded, she couldn't replicate the feat against an enemy as adaptable as Velzard. More crucially, she understood the futility of fighting an opponent who could endlessly revive, a hard-earned lesson from her time in Rimurus Labyrinth. Stopping Velzard was impossible. Anyone who tried would be annihilated instantly, even Tensura. Only a handful of beings could face her in this state, perhaps even fewer than that. With Rimuru absent, the responsibility fell entirely on Guy. Tensura reached the barrier, where Moss had already adjusted the environment to provide warmth and comfort. He had even conjured chairs, ensuring Tensura didn't have to stand. Rain, realizing Moss could have done this all along, was visibly irritated, questioning why Tensura received special treatment. As their usual bickering unfolded, Misery offered a philosophical take on effort, much to Tensuro's exasperation. Meanwhile, outside, Guy and Velzard's battle raged with terrifying intensity. Within the barrier, silence settled, an unspoken understanding of the fragile balance they faced. Moss, trying to remain unnoticed, found himself reluctantly dragged into their conversation as Tensura praised his capability in training subordinates, though he knew failure under her was not an option. Rain, sensing her position growing unstable, boldly declared she would assist Guy. Tensura dismissed the notion immediately, stating she would be eliminated in an instant. Even Misery, usually Rain's defender, acknowledged the truth. There was nothing they could do except focus on their own tasks. Shifting the topic, they discussed sending reinforcements to Rubirio's, placing their hopes on Luminous. Tensura then turned to Moss, inquiring about Kara and the others. Understanding there was only one acceptable answer, Moss confirmed their location beneath the ice. While some of Milim's subordinates showed no life signs, their frozen state made revival possible. Tensura, prioritizing combat strength, ordered the immediate extraction of Kara and Obra despite the sheer difficulty of the task. Moss, though inwardly frustrated, had no choice but to comply, knowing resistance was futile. Guy pondered Velzard's cry, and realization struck she had harbored jealousy toward him all this time. As he voiced this thought, Velzard reacted ever so slightly before laughing, though her fury remained unchanged. Just as she spoke, the world was consumed by absolute stillness, a frozen void that halted all natural laws. This was not just ice, it was eternal world, a power that opposed Guy's own and had remained hidden from him for centuries. Now, there was no denying it, Velzard had concealed her true strength all along. She had understood his abilities from the beginning and waited until this moment to unleash her own. With no distractions, Guy faced the pressing question. How could he stop her? A flash of absolute freeze grazed him, piercing his barriers and cutting through his defenses. In the distance, entire mountains collapsed, not from an explosion, but from the sheer unraveling of molecular bonds. This was raw destruction, far beyond conventional magic. Unlike Guy, Dragonoids unleashed their full power without concern for collateral damage, making them nearly unstoppable. Yet, Guy had made a promise to Veldanava, one he would not break. This was among the worst situations he had ever faced. But it did not mean defeat. His ultimate skill, prideful King Lucifer, allowed him to replicate any ability he had seen, making him the most dangerous being alive. He had already incorporated countless techniques, including Twilight's pseudo-dragon form and Tensura's pure white world. However, Velzard was too intelligent to reveal her true trump card prematurely. She relied on Patience King Gabriel, a power Guy was familiar with, allowing him to predict and counter her moves. But brute force alone made prediction meaningless, and he suspected her true ability was something he wouldn't be able to copy easily. For the first time in centuries, uncertainty crept into his mind. Even the smallest hesitation could mean defeat. The moment she revealed her ultimate power would be the moment of decision. Could he analyze and adapt before the battle was decided? Guy despised relying on luck. He fought with absolute certainty. Yet, despite the shifting odds, he knew one thing with unwavering confidence. Guy Crimson never lost. Guy shattered Velzard's absolute stop, overcoming its frozen grip through sheer force of will. Her power, an extreme force that halted all kinetic energy, was absurdly absolute, but its sheer extremity allowed him to resist it. More than anything, he had gained time to observe her closely and reach a critical realization. Guy believed she was acting of her own free will, but he realized that Twilight had subtly influenced her. Twilight wasn't using a direct ability or control. His manipulation was far more insidious. Velzard's single-mindedness made her easy to steer, and words alone wouldn't be enough to break his hold. The only way to stop this was to move Velzard's heart, an almost impossible task. Even so, Guy had no choice. Twilight was a pure agent of chaos, indifferent to success or failure so long as he could spread malice. Fury stirred within Guy. Using Velzard as a pawn was unacceptable. His anger flared, igniting his core as he unleashed Napalm Burst, a writhing dragon of flame meant to restrain rather than harm. Yet even that was useless, Velzard's diamond dust scattered his flames effortlessly, erasing them with a breath of absolute frost. Guy clicked his tongue, inwardly impressed. Velzard was stronger than ever, her power undiminished despite Guy's own growth. Her strength, fueled by pure jealousy, was undeniable. Unlike Twilight, who had discarded emotions and stagnated, Velzard had become stronger precisely because she embraced her emotions. Twilight might be using her as a stepping stone, but it didn't matter. Guy cast aside unnecessary thoughts. His arrogance, his nature, demanded that he act without hesitation. No more holding back, no more preparing for Iverage. Right now, only Velzard mattered. For the first time in centuries, Guy Crimson was getting serious. Velzard's golden eyes gleamed with anticipation as she welcomed the battle she had long desired. A world where only she and Guy existed. Their duel had already surpassed time itself, stretching across an endless frozen battlefield. Despite neither starting at full strength, they had fought in a realm where no ordinary demon lord could survive. Guy, ever composed, had shown no openings. His movements were flawless, as if he could predict her every move. More impressively, he wasn't even using his own energy. He was drawing magicules from the atmosphere, seamlessly converting them into spells with no delay. What would have been inefficient for most was effortless for him. This was why he was the strongest of the primordials. His greatest weapon wasn't raw power but observation. With a mere glimpse, he could comprehend and counter any ability. If Velzard had relied solely on patience King Gabriel, her chances of victory would have been non-existent. But she had prepared for this. Her true trump card, Jealousy King Leviathan, remained hidden for this very moment. With Twilight sealed away, she had lost an advantage, leaving her with only one path to victory. Yet Guy had already seen through it. Annoyance flared within her, but so did exhilaration. This was why it had to be Guy, the only one who had ever made her feel this way. Despite having twice his magic energy, she knew she had just one shot at winning. For now, Frozen World sustained her energy, but that advantage was fading. Her strategy was clear: pressure Guy relentlessly, push him to his limits, and at the decisive moment, unleash Jealousy King Leviathan. Frustration lingered. She should have prepared more trump cards. Even Twilight's pseudo-dragon form had failed to serve as a distraction. But none of that mattered now. Guy was finally serious. That alone made this battle worth it. Pouring every emotion into the moment, Velzard charged forward. And so, the two strongest beings in the world finally went all out. A battle beyond strength, will, and destiny had begun in earnest.